On everyone, this is me, your girl, the Wealthinaire, and I am going to be having a live Q&A for credit restoration. So any questions that you guys may have after the presentation, you guys know the drill. I'm glad that this is helping a lot of individuals. I've been getting DMs. I've also got some emails in regards to someone that used the service from the Q&A last week. They were able to get some hard inquiries off and a late payment. So to that person, right? I wish I can, I got my little studio set up, everyone, but I'm working on it, right? So again, I am so glad that I am going to be here tonight. I'm going to be talking to two screens. So far, if you are here, make sure that you follow, you're sharing this because I need to make sure that I get all of my new subscribers so I can go live. Because right now I got to talk to two different cameras. Okay, so I have to go on TikTok live. I'm definitely getting the subscribers and everything up for the TikTok live. So again, my name is Nakaji, the Wealthinaire. I am the woman who you guys know get the approvals. Okay, so today again, I'm just going to go over my presentation. This is something that I want to make sure that I'm bringing to everyone to let you know that number one, get your credit fixed. All right. You have to be able to get your credit fixed. Once you get your credit fixed, there's unlimited sources of income that you guys can tap into and become what I always tell everybody. We are wealthinaires. We are mental carriers. These are the individuals who know for a fact that living in financial and life literacy, poverty, or having a drought of your generation was a no-no. So when I say to you guys, as a mental carrier, remember you're the one who's actually going to take the information, execute on the information, do what's necessary to continue to educate yourself, and then put it into that life component, which is you will know what to do with the money. So tonight, again, I'm just going to go over the presentation, which I make sure that I let everybody know. If you can go, if I know I have some of my TikTok followers over here, and then I have Instagram. I'm actually doing the live stream. So if you need to see the presentation, you will have to go onto my YouTube, and then YouTube, you can follow along, and then kick back with me back with TikTok or wherever you are. So again, I'm Nakaji, the Wealthinaire. If you have not been here before, make sure you subscribe. Click all those notification buttons. I am here to teach you how to leverage or get out of debt, introducing you to the basic of financial literacy, which is on the credit side, credit restoration. I'm going to do an introduction as I explained to you guys what's the actual outcome. I'm here instead of me telling, I had all of my cards too, but instead of you getting into certain programs or you making payments, I do have this as a service, but I want to everybody's situation is different, so I really wanted to make sure that I educate you guys on what you need to do to get started. Primarily, to get started, again, you can just go to my bio or the pinned comment that I left, and you can go. You have to get your consumer report. Okay, your consumer report, you can just pull it for $1 instead of you paying $30 for this. It's only going to be $1. You pull your consumer report. I'm going to go through the presentation, and I'm going to tell you this is what's on, what should and should not be on your consumer report. And while you follow along with me, I will just bring you up for the Q&A. Okay, you guys. So today we're going to work with about 30 to 45 minutes, as I said, for this masterclass. And remember, I'm going to be here for the remaining month of April on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So let's go ahead and get into it. So, as I explained to a lot of individuals, the financial and life literacy platform, what we are doing at Wealthinaire Enterprises, I am dedicated, okay, to helping inexperienced individuals break these generational cycles through credit restoration, business startup, funding, and assets protection. And remember, we transform every day individuals to mental carriers and those generational starters. I don't like using the terminology generational breaker, but we are generational starters, you guys. Okay, so let's talk about a lot of these debt myths and about credit. You always hear, don't use the card, use your car only 30%. Debt is not real. How somebody's going to give you all this money? It is out here. I'm telling you, you need to know you're a US citizen, right? US is the biggest business formation you can ever talk about. So if you have a different city or a township that you're in, how do you think that these individuals able to get money? It was not with cash money under the metric. No, they leverage their consumer report. They leverage their credit worthiness. They leverage their banking relationships to say, hey, this is basically what I can get for my dream. Okay, you guys. So that's why I make sure I type in. Let me share. I thought I was sharing. So thank you very much for that. I didn't see your name, that you didn't see the screen. I'm gonna go ahead and finish. Okay, so those are basically a couple of myths. Also, only use your credit for emergencies and all this other stuff. No, it's really not like that. Okay, so those are some major credit myths that we need to make sure that we stop tapping into these things. Now, we have to understand currently the generational wealth gap. All right, before we dive into any type of credit strategies, let's understand why this work matter. All right. Now, for racial wealth gap, isn't just about numbers, it's about systems, barriers that have prevented generational wealth building for decades. Okay. So again, you guys, I'm gonna make sure I talk to you over here, and I'm gonna talk to my audience over here as well. So when we're talking about building those or separating ourselves, or when I say separate, I'm actually trying to say we're separating the actual understanding of some of these financial terms or these financial behaviors. Okay, what you're about to see and what I'm about to explain, why financial literacy and credit restoration are an act. It's an act of restoring your wealth. Okay. Now, in regards to a lot of the studies that I'll show you guys definitely on this presentation, do you not know that any other household, let's just talk about the Caucasian household, their actual medium household income is a little over $188,000. Do you guys hear that? When it comes down to the Black family, the Black household, it's at $24,000. How many times have that tripled over from $188,000 to $24,000? That is a big gap. That is a household income. That's basically someone's salary, right? That's someone's salary. So the other thing that I need you guys to know is, with this wealth gap, do you not know for every $210,000 of the net worth cap, that is $0 to the Black family? So when we're talking about these things, of course, this is your savings. These are your investments, your assets, properties, all these different things. It's zero. Next, also in regards to the dollar ratio. So for every $100 that is saved with a family, only about 15 is saved with a Black family. All right. We got to think about these things. And I just kind of want to go through some of these things. I'm super excited that you guys are tapping in here, and we're going to make sure that we get your questions. This picture, as I explained to you guys a lot, this means a lot to me, where I have been on both sides of this platform. I've been on the side where, I've seen my my mother trying to figure out what was going to happen, or whenever she probably went into some type of depressed mode. And then also I got a chance to see the other side where we were taking trips and still are taking trips. And then, to be honest, you guys, it's a very hard time. Like, even for myself, it's a very hard time in regards to what you are trying to accomplish if you do not know the necessities to make sure that you are able to make sure that you get a chance to understand how to leverage your money for you. Okay, so again, if you tapping in, this is basically a live Q&A. What I'm doing for everyone, me being the wealthionaire, it's just $1. You go ahead, get your consumer report. Instead of paying the $30, you just go ahead, use the link that I actually pinned, or you can go into my bio and get your consumer report. I'm going to show you exactly what needs to be on your consumer report, what should not. If you see any type of different delinquencies that I'm going to go over, you let me know. I just go ahead, pull you up, and then we'll actually have a credit restoration one-on-one tonight. Okay, so that's basically what I'm doing. Now, just to continue to go through really quickly in regards to the presentation, we have to understand this basic terminology. I also have my ebook. It's basically going to be that bestseller. This ebook is going to speak about financial terminology that is used around the wealth and the banking system. Do you guys know that? The ABCs they taught you was A, B, C, D, E, F, G. No, these are financial ABCs. And I was 2 years younger when I found out about this, right? So you have to know this to actually help you leverage what going on in regards to breaking that generational wealth. So let's dive into it, you guys. When we're talking about credit, all right, can you guys see the screen? Okay, I'm gonna bring it up a little bit more. So when we're talking about credit is more than just a number. All right, this is what your financial representation and the ability to leverage. All right, so when you see these big companies, and as I explained to you guys, these big companies use credit, they use debt, they use their ability to make money, right? Make more money and pay things back, building great relationships, right? Also, when you go and get your consumer report, what a lot of individuals have a big mistake. They think that once they get a credit monitoring service, right, you have to know which credit monitoring service you have. There's a credit monitoring service that pulls from FICO, and there's one that pulls from Vantage. If you are on Credit Karma and you understand your credit score can say it's a 700 or something and you're still getting denied, the reason why is because they're pulling from Vantage scores. Lenders do not use Vantage, okay? I'm telling you now, you can go ahead and Google or ChatGPT and see which one of your credit monitoring. So the partnerships that I have with the number one consumer report for you to get your consumer report is the link. You go to my bio, is My Score IQ, right? When you are pulling your consumer report from FICO only, when we speak about FICO, there's a couple of different tiers. FICO right now is 8. We do have 10, it pulled out, 10T pulled out as well. But do you not know your score is basically on certain tiers? So you have FICO 3, FICO 2, FICO 7, all these different FICOs is where a lender or financial institute will pull from to see your credit worthiness. And remember, once you guys get the ebook that I provided, the free ebook, the terminology, what I'm speaking, you will be able to follow the conversations. Okay. So for, again, that credit monitoring service, you need to do 2 things, which I tell all of my clients, all of my individuals, my mental carriers. For your consumer report, you need to always pull FICO. It always needs to be FICO. Your consumer report needs to provide you the 3 agencies. They're not bureaus, credit agencies. Those agencies, you have heard those names: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Okay. Now, when you do your credit monitoring, you also need to pull your annual credit report. All right. These two are applicable that you must have these things. One, which is the FICO, the credit monitoring, is going to monitor everything that happens with your social security number and your name. It provides a score. Okay. The annual credit report provides your entire history that you have with your social security number from anything, and it's backdated since the beginning, but it does not provide you a score. But the FICO, the credit monitoring, does, and typically that only backdates at least 2 years. The other significance is annual credit report. This is the only credit report that will hold up in court. My consumer specialist that I have is making money because there's credit agencies making big mistakes, and we can sue. A lot of people do not understand that. That is the other part of being wealthy. Okay. Knowledge is key. Now, so I tell a lot of my clients again, every month you have subscriptions to Netflix, your hair, you getting your going to the cigar lounge, all these different things that you can do. And you need to make sure that you pay, even if you're paying rent, you need to basically pay your subscription because you can be leaving a lot of money on the table. Do you guys understand? Each month, somebody make a mistake. That's why I like to say somebody got my money tonight. So make sure that you guys have that each month. Now, when we're talking about FICO, as I explained, those different FICOs for mortgage, FICO 2, 4, and 5. Then we have, of course, credit cards 8, and as I explained. Now, the FICO, you have 5 factors that makes up your FICO score. All right. You have your payment history that is 35%. You have your amount owed, which is what we call, sometimes you hear utilization, that's 30%. The length of your history, as far as your accounts, 15%. New credit cards or new applying for new things, that's 10%. And your credit mix in regards to how many variants of lenders or what type of loans or auto or credit cards, those different things, that's 10%. So we're talking about this score. You have to make sure the top 3 will be your payment history, your utilization, and your length of history. But if you were to mess up any one of those top 3s, that's when you can see a very large decrease in your credit score. Okay. So again, I have that here. You guys can review that. Now, pulling out your consumer report. Here we go, you guys. With your consumer report, you have to learn how to read your consumer report. And here it goes. This is how you read your consumer report. When you pull out your consumer report with the credit monitoring, as I said, you can find the link in my bio here, or you can use the link below. Make sure because I know you guys are going to want to have the consultation for me to provide my services. Make sure when you do apply for or pull your consumer report, it's going to be a checkbox that you will have to grant my company access to review your consumer report. So then when we have the one-on-one call, myself or my team will be able to expedite the call and tell you what is wrong and what we can actually do. So when you read your consumer report, this is how some things, and it's going to take you some time to actually study these different things. And then there's a whole law that goes with this. But here's the actual titles. When you first pull your consumer report, at the top, we call this the profile, your personal information. Your personal information house, your name, your address, your social security number, your telephone number, your employer, and alias. Okay. Those things are going to be on the personal information. And when you're reviewing the sheet, across, there are going to be those 3 agencies. So TransUnion may provide 5 different information, which is your name, but your name can say, let's say your name is Alan T. George. Okay, that's your name. But you go by just Alan George. Experian has Alan George. TransUnion has Alice T. George. Experian, what else? TransUnion, did I say TransUnion, guys? What other one? Okay. They have Allen B. Jordan. So that there is some discrepancies that's going on because the information is not accurate. Okay. Then you have numbers. You have your addresses. If there can be multiple addresses, but if on your ID, if it does not provide your current name, address as you want it to be, and it's not the same across the board, that means that there's some money on the table for you guys. Okay, there's some money. That means that there may be some accounts on your consumer report that prevented you from trying to get a house, that prevented you from trying to get funding, that prevented you from trying to get anything else that was needed, right? So when it goes to those things and you have the bureau and your data is basically being exposed to a lot of the what they call the dark web and stuff like that, that's a big major issues. And for a company that's reporting this information, or if a lender was to get that and they say, oh no, Miss Jordan didn't do X, Y, and Z, and they denied you, that's money to your pocket. So this is another way that a lot of wealthy leverage everyday cycle. This is the life legacy that I'm talking about on that component. Now, the next area you're going to have is the account information. The account information you're going to see on your consumer report, a lot of accounts. They're going to have numbers. They're going to have dates. It's going to have an amount. It's going to have at the bottom, it's going to say the months and the year. So it may say they short the abbreviation for January, February, March, of course. So it may say January 2025, and then it has backdated 2024. You might see 30, 60, late payment. Okay. It may be a lot of different things, and they're not going in order. Do you not know, because of the leverage and the education that I have used, that now I can read consumer reports and see where there's inaccuracies? Took a long time. But when we find inaccuracies, lawsuit, right? What Shaggy used to say, it wasn't me, right? So there's a reason why I'm going through this, so you can learn how to read it. When you learn how to read it and then know the wealth terminology and some laws, or when you have my company able to help you leverage, you'll see, right? And so that's when the things that's being taught by myself, or even joining my my group called the Mental Carers, you will see how we execute a lot of this information, and that what helps leverage that generational drought of financial and life literacy. Okay, so the next part of the consumer report, you're going to see on there public records collections, right? Public records and collections, when you have maybe liens, bankruptcies, child support, there may be some things there. If there are some things there, definitely hurry up and contact me as soon as possible, because the information I'm going to provide for you tonight is just basically something gate entry. Okay, so when you have something there, those will basically be those things in any type of judgments. Then we have the credit inquiries. Credit inquiries, you're going to see two different ones. One's going to say hard inquiries, one's going to say the soft inquiries. Of course, by now, if you have not, or you do not know, hard inquiries do impact your consumer report. Soft inquiries do not. However, what I can explain to you now is that even if a lender see that you didn't accept or get denied, when you have a hard inquiry, that's basically you inquiring to get some type of service or some type of financial institute, and they either denied you or approve you. If they approve you, of course, it's going to say a hard inquiry. It's going to be on your consumer report. Even if they denied you, it's going to be there. You don't want that there. What a lot of the lenders, or the what we call the underwriters, they can still see the soft pull. So if they see a lot of soft pulls, they're going to put two and two together and say, well, why did he or she didn't get approved, or what happened? So again, you have to be very, very strategic with that process. Then you're going to have, of course, another major point with your consumer report is the consumer statements. A lot of people at the very bottom miss this a lot. The consumer statements basically provides a communication publicly and internally, because internally there's a way that they tag the person's identity or provide updates to the person identity. And when it is on a public, let's just say you were doing identity theft, right? And you know, if you go and you try to apply for something, they either tell you that they need extra documents because they want to make sure the person that they're sitting in front of, or whoever provided personal information, the person is who they are. Okay. This also can limit you in a lot of different things as well. It can provide you to get, X'd out from receiving funding as well. So these are basically the things that we will have to look with your consumer report. All right. So if you guys are following me, nod your heads. I've been speaking to you guys a lot over here on TikTok. So I'm going to go back. So if you guys see this here, just make sure that you understand the basic when you're looking at your consumer report. Now, when we're looking at the consumer report, of course, as soon as I think what my team has, what we were going to try to do now, because I know it's live and I don't want to bring up people's personal information. I know for the next couple of weeks, we're going to start doing Zoom, and then you can send in your reports to info.thewealthionaire.com. And then once we get on the call, we can actually go over the consumer report to you as well. Okay. Now, when it comes down to, and like I said, to a lot of individuals, you have to understand information change situations, and situations change when you stop procrastination. Right? Okay. So when we talk about that, it's just this information I'm providing to you guys tonight. I'm not here to be, I'm selling you. I am a full transparent individual. I spend, when I say thousands of dollars, okay, I'm talking about big with a comma, 2 numbers. I'm probably about at almost 6 figures on putting in. I'm not that close on a 6-figure number to putting in for my investment. But if you do my student loans, I'm at 6 figures. But after that, no. So it took me a while in regards to procrastinating. You guys, oh my God, it's just, have you all ever had a tag and it's just sticking me, like constantly sticking me? So it took me a minute to execute on a lot of information because I didn't understand the language. And when I didn't understand the language, I always thought that somebody was trying to do something or have a one up, which wisdom would give you that. I did have that a lot happen. And I had a handful of individuals that were in the community that was not, too much of a sore thumb when it came to a lot of different things. But I'm happy that I'm here. So let's talk about what your consumer report should look like. Okay. So you guys see this here? Green. You want to be dark green, light green. Average would be that lime neo color. Okay. When I tell you, with my relationships that I have with every financial institute that you can think of, I love to have what we call banking relationships managers. These are the ones that you don't see. These are the ones that say yes or nay in regards to approval before it goes to the underwriter. Okay. But having these individuals, because I don't use a computer, I have direct managers I can go to, send them over and say, this person needed $1 million. This person needs 500, 600, 10,000, right? It's good to have those type of people on your call. But this is the way that you have to have your consumer report. That consumer report is going to have that payment history. You got to have 100%. 6% of credit utilization. Stop allowing people to tell you 30% of your credit utilization. That is wrong. That's like a F. You need to always be under 10%. Do you hear me? Or 10% when it comes to when the reporting day. Derogatories, when we talked about collections, bankruptcies, late payments, there's a lot of different areas that we have derogatories. 0. Your account history, right? The account history. I will always say, as far as starting off, there's different ways that you can help establish this. Being authorized users with other accounts that you need to at least have 5 years and above. Your total accounts. Prior, it was always having at least 17, but 12 accounts, and so we can still work for. Hard inquiries, you need to have, I will always say 0. We can, again, there's a way after you know how to utilize certain laws to remove hard inquiries, but any hard inquiry, when I say the minimum of 2 per credit agency, that means like 2 for Experian, 2 for TransUnion, 2 for Equifax, right? You want to make sure that you only have a minimum of 2 of those hard inquiries. So again, the last and final, if you go ahead and comment mental carrier, I'll send you the information that you can get inside the exclusive group of the mental carriers with Wealth and Enterprises. Again, don't forget, for the remainder of the week, or for the remainder of the month, you guys, we're going to have on Tuesdays, it will be just Thursday nights, not Tuesday. So excuse me, for Thursday nights, I thought I fixed this. Thursday nights, we're going to talk about business, startup, existing businesses, and for you to get business funding. On Wednesday nights, you're going to see me here talking about credit. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor to anybody that is here and live. If you have your consumer report, we can go ahead and discuss what's on your consumer report, and then follow up with a consultation. All right. So if you are ready to come on live, just go ahead, click the button right there, and then we could just go ahead and have all the full discussions of what you have on your consumer report, and we can get it fixed. So instead of paying for my service tonight, again, this is something that I'm able to give you guys. If you feel as though you needed to get it by, if you feel that you can do your own credit restoration, feel free. But why would you do that if you don't have the experience? Okay. So again, somebody got your money today. I'm here. Do anybody else have any other questions before I end? Any questions? All right, so that was fun. Able to answer all the questions to everybody who came in tonight. I'll see you again for the remainder of this month. On Wednesdays, we're going to have the credit restoration live Q&A. On Thursdays, we're going to do business, analyzing your business, start a business, a new business, and actually show you how to get business funded. It's me, your girl, the wealthionaire, the woman who is approving funding. Okay, I'm trying to say something else, but good night, you guys. Have a great one. Ciao.